When did the Blue Heron open?
2004.
How many employees does the Blue Heron have?
32 right now.
32, okay. And before this, what were you doing?
I actually worked in sales for 23 years for Walters Kluwer out of St. Cloud. It used to be Maker Systems.
So you have a sales background then, so do you think that helps you out running
Absolutely.
this?
You know, it was like, I own it with my son, Nick. He had asked me when it came for sale, and I was ready to get out of the big corporate world and
Sure.
traveling and all that kind of stuff. And he said, "Do you have any money?" Which helped to buy it. And so that's kind of how I got into it. Nick and Chrissy, who are married, have both been here for forever.
Are they your partners then?
Nick married Chrissy,
Okay,
but
so
Chrissy
she
worked here.
I see.
Yeah, she married
Okay.
into it. So Nick and I are actually 50-50 partners in
Okay.
it, but she is through marriage.
Definitely.
And they brought the operations background with them. You know, it's like how to order food, how much to plan for, how to put on a wedding. You know, and which I knew nothing about. I never waitressed or anything in my life, and I kind of knew the financial side of it, probably in the customer service, sales.
So do you have any like accountants or other professional help outside of the business?
We do. We have a CPA firm that's hired. They used to help us with everything, and then over the past 8 years I've tried to learn and take on more and more. Like just the last year and a half I started doing our own payroll.
Okay.
And all those types of taxes involved in that and stuff. But prior to that they were doing our payroll too.
Oh, okay.
But they do our financials at the end of the year, like our tax returns and our corporate taxes.
Have you noticed a difference in your business since the recent turn in the economy? Has it kind of changed what's been coming through here?
Oh, absolutely. It really hit hard, and you know, I guess the biggest thing is, you know, and that's, as you can see from my desk, I handle the paperwork, and it's like a day-to-day basis. We were robbing from Peter to pay Paul and hoping, you know, Peter didn't notice till you could put it back. So it's been constant juggling, and, you know, and I think the toughest part as an owner is you have to meet all those bills and you have to meet your payroll. And when there's no money left over at the end of that, you're the one who doesn't take a check home. So
That's
Nick and I
hard.
both have, like for the last couple of years, have been personally struggling financially.
Okay. Do you notice a difference with that brewery coming in? Has that changed business at all?
A little bit. We have, actually there's a relationship there too. My youngest son, who used to be our general manager, who also, you know, worked for us when we first took over and had been in the business a long time prior to me coming in. He married the daughter of the president of the brewery. He came to work for us, and Steph came on board. She was a waitress for us, and then Nate was our general manager, but she was a teacher, so she didn't want someone working the nights, weekends, you know, what this kind of business demands. And
Yeah.
so Nate has since left us and taken a different position.
You and J job more.
Yeah, no, he went and took basically my position with my old boss at a different company, so now he's in sales.
So before you took over, was this another business?
It was this business.
It was
It's
the Blue
always been the Blue Heron.
Okay.
When we bought it 8 years ago, we renamed it the Great Blue Heron, which is actually the name of the bird. It's been here for, you know, it's an icon. It's been here for 30-some years.
Right. And there's not too many restaurants in town, so.
No, you know, there's, you know, your Subways and your, you know, little coffee shop downtown and Hardee's and, well, Martinelli's would probably be the closest thing, you know, to us as far as that type of dining. But we're more fine dining, you know, upscale with, like, weddings.
How much of the business do you think comes from the event center, weddings? And
I would have to say in years past it would probably be at least 50%.
wow.
But weddings have been way down, and I think that has to do with the economy as well. People just aren't, they're waiting to get married, or they're not doing it as big.
Definitely.
You know, a lot of outdoor stuff. We've been actually doing a little bit more catering when we're doing smaller outdoor events. But it would be nice to get the business to where that's what we did was events, you know, so that you had a week to build up and then just like rock solid events all weekend, and then you came down again.
I have seen a lot of businesses kind of put in like a reward system or kind of coupons or discounting programs. Do you do that at all?
Mm-hmm. We do. We actually have teamed up with a company called Rewards Network, and we just started it probably a year ago now. You sign up via your phone number and email, and each dollar you spend with us is worth a point. So then after so many points at each different interval, an email coupon is generated to those customers, and they can, you know, print it off, bring it in, and redeem it. And it starts over at every $500 you spend.
Okay.
So, I mean, we have some customers that, you know, turn that over like 4 or 5 times a year. Some of our regular ones that come in, and you know, they're $25, you know, $100 of their money comes to us every year, but they go through our rewards program then like 5 times a year.
What advice would you give to someone that would plan on opening a small business?
It would be that you definitely have to have a good business plan in place, and we worked with the Small Business Administration when we took over, and actually Nick had started the whole process himself before he asked me to come on board, so he was well into that, developing a business plan and, you know, working on getting financing and stuff like that. But the biggest overall thing is, if you think that your friends and your family are going to support your business and be, you know, they all say, we'll come there, we'll come there, we'll have our wedding there, you know, and stuff like that, you probably will fail if you depend on that, because those end up not being the people that really are your regular, consistent customers. And you have to make yourself appealing to other people, because it's, you know, they always say it's the 80-20 rule, you know, that 80% of your business comes from 20% of your customers. And that 20% can't be just friends and family. That 20% has to be somebody that you're drawing in because of what you have to offer.
So you said that you worked with the Small Business Association, is that SBA? Did you have a succession plan or a business plan set up through them? And so you have a hard one set in place?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we should review that again. I mean, I think it's really good to review it every so many years, but what I found is you get so caught up in running your business that you forget to run your business. But it was easy to start with, okay, well, let's follow these numbers every month, you know, and the banks let you alone before, but now the banks have stricter regulations, and you have to meet numbers for them. And, you know, in the last couple of years, the bank has been calling us, wanting to know what our projections are, you know.
Oh, really?
You know, so we're watching numbers now on basically down to a weekly, you know, driving it down to what's coming in this week.
Right.
Not necessarily for the bank, but now for us, but we've never had to do that before. So it's really been helpful. We also worked with Minnesota Business Finance, which is a division of the SBA. Okay. That gives you free consulting. A financial consultant comes out and works with you. There's a marketing consultant that comes out and works with you. Things that we never knew were available to us. And we kind of found out indirectly by sort of hitting rock bottom and having to borrow money from a relative to keep the cash flow going for the business. And that person's financial advisor happened to know about this program and told us. And we're like, well, why aren't the banks telling us that?
Right.
You know, or helping the small businesses stay in business. But they've been a huge asset too.
Do you see any changes coming up in the future? Anything you'd like to start new?
Well, we did just do an outside remodel.
Yes, it looks really nice.
Our building didn't look like that a year ago, and it's almost finished. The cement work is there. There's a heavy wood timber canopy coming up the front entrance to kind of make more of a prominent front entrance. So that's a change. We actually have a remodel blueprint for the inside, but that's as far as it got. You know, we took it to the bank, and the bank's like, yeah, that's great, but you need to cash flow.
Sure. One step at a time sort of thing.
And it's kind of like, yeah, if your business isn't cash flowing, you're high risk to loan money too. So we hope that changes someday, and that's why we stay in such close contact with the bank. We actually meet physically with them every 3 months and show them our financials. And
is that required, or is that just something you do?
That's something we do because we really want to stay on top of it with the bank, because as soon as we can get back to where we were, we'd like to do that remodel.
Has the outdoor traffic been any bigger since you've done the outside remodel?
Not really. I don't really, know that that's caused any huge changes for us. People will come in and say, well, what are you doing on the inside?
Okay.
It's like, the outside looks nice. What are you doing on the inside? It's like, nothing.
Getting there, on our way.
Lots of plans.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd like to get some outdoor seating and, some of those trends that are popular now, but it's, to cost justify something like that too. It's so seasonal in Minnesota.
Yeah, that's going to be tough to...
You have to set up your projections to show, well, I'm going to make this much money during this many months.
What would you consider a typical day-to-day activities? Like, what do you do on your average day here? Or is that kind of an adjustment thing? You're all over the board?
Well, I always call it living the dream.
What does that mean?
Because I get up in the morning and put on my t-shirt, my sweatpants, and I come in early and I clean toilets. And, scrub underneath the equipment and clean and do laundry. I do our chef's coats and the napkins and all the things that we used to have people hired for, which, we did have to let some people go. But, there were things that we could take on the duties ourselves.
Right.
And not have to pay someone else to do to help with that cash flow situation.
Definitely.
So anyway, when I'm done doing all that kind of icky, nasty work, then I come to the office and start the rest of my day, which is just the financials, paying bills, working with salespeople that are constantly coming in. I think one of the biggest surprises I had taking over the business was the number of times you get donation requests. It's huge, and there's so many more people out there having benefits, and just Catholic schools, or just sports organizations, high schools, everything. They're making cuts in their businesses too, so they have to come to other business owners to ask for help and help support their activities, whether it be hockey or basketball or whatever. And so it's constant. But there's not a day that goes by that I don't get a donation request, and that really shocked me.
Wow, that is surprising. Every day.
Yeah,
wow.
Every day, if not multiple in a day.
Oh, man. That must be kind of hard to turn it all down.
It is, and at first when things were really good, when we first took over, it was like, oh sure, let me get the checkbook. And then it's like you realize, oh my goodness, we have to rein that in and really budget to say, okay, this is how many dollars we have a year for donations. It's used up, It's, a lot of that paperwork, working with people like that, handling those inquiries. We have doing all the banking every day, making the deposits, and, like I say, moving money around, so that it's where it should be. I do sales tax the 20th of every month, and that's going back over the books and calculating everything. And so it's a lot to do. My position, or my part of the position, is a lot to do with the numbers. I love the flexibility of being a small business owner, though. It's like when we first took over, my mother got sick and has since passed away with cancer, but I wouldn't have had the flexibility in my life to be there for her. And now my dad has Alzheimer's, so I'm there with him. And it's just that being able to leave this office for so many hours every day and go spend a couple hours with him, and then be able to go home, shower, and come back, for the evening. It's like, that's the great part of it, and that is living the dream, is to be able to be what you want to be to different people.
Right, and kind of just that openness of your schedule.
Yeah.
Would you say that's your favorite part of the job?
What's that?
Having that flexibility
Yeah, definitely. To be in charge. Sometimes it's not fun to be in charge. It's like when it comes to firing people, or having to discipline people and stuff like that. And You know, I would think that's kind of the hardest part of the job, is really working with so many multiple personalities, and especially in this industry, it's a lot of young people.
I think I have all that we need. That should be enough footage to cover everything.